This is the first and only time. Welcome to Over 50, starting over, everyone. I'm Barry Edwards.
And I'm Merle Garrison.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for doing that. By the way, we didn't realize it until at the end of the show last week. That was our 50th episode.
Number 50. That's a big deal. Big deal.
Even bigger next week.
We're coming up to end of season 2 and 1 year anniversary.
Exactly. Wow. So I didn't realize that we basically started right around Halloween last year. I thought we started in November, but it was late October.
Yep.
We did not miss a beat. I wanted to, in our career self-improvement section, I wanted to talk about lists. And the more you think about lists, the more you'll realize how they affect every aspect of our lives. And if you don't use them correctly, you're not running your life that effectively. And let me tell you, preaching to the choir here, because I come and go with lists all day long. I literally could talk about this all day long. Now, what I mean by this is there is the honey-do list that I get from Lisa all the time. She's a huge list person. And so she inflicts them on me quite often.
Inflicts.
But work-wise, I do a lot of different things. I go from writing stuff on the back of envelopes that are sitting around to I organize my files on my computer in such a way that it's a very effective project management list. But when I'm working with a team, that is my team, and a lot of stuff is going on that needs to be organized, I use a program called an online program. It's called a SAAS. You know what a SAAS is? Software. What is that? SAAS. But it means it's
software as a service.
There you go. Online software. So Trello, Trello, Trello.com is a terrific project management software where you can assign tasks. It is very well organized. You can plan out your day, your week. You can plan out a whole calendar and by project, assign people to certain tasks on that project. If you're interested in that, if you have need for that, look up a YouTube video on it. And there's a lot of different ways that you can use it, but it's very, very effective. So when I have complex teams and projects going on, I do use Trello. The challenge to that is getting other people to keep their tasks updated or put some time in to learn how to use it and join the team effectively. A lot of times ego enters in. And
how so?
You got a team member that has their way of doing things.
Right.
And feel like you're dictating to them how they should work. And yet they see themselves as a peer, which is, hey, that's fine. But if you're on a team, be a team player. I do a lot of give and take on teams I'm on to be a team player. So sometimes you just can't get people to cooperate because the ego plays in. They have their own way of doing things, and you get a little bit of attitude. So it is important to be on the same page. But here's a downside to lists that I fall into this trap a lot. When email becomes your list. And your clients start dictating your day by sending you all these things that need done that are really hot priorities, this, that, or the other. I mean, let me just join in if you feel my pain here.
I do. Well, and it's not just, in corporate America, it's your boss is going to send you, wow, I need this by this time, the fire drill is what we call it. And that happens a lot of times as well. It's just how America and corporate living has become. I mean, remember when we first started in business, we didn't have email. Can you imagine a world where you don't have email? I mean,
it's amazing.
But now
it's hard for me to remember back to that.
It is hard to just even realize that there was a time that we actually lived our lives without voicemail, without text messaging, and without email.
And isn't that interesting? Because we were always told how technology was going to make our lives so much easier and free up so much more of our time. And when I look back on that, there's a double-edged sword. And here's something I'll never forget. When I first went into business for myself in like 1995, I had to do a logo or something for someone. And boy, I would be charging a couple $1,000s for a logo back then because it was a
Right.
big project. I
Right.
would have to go to the library and do all my research. When you did a logo back then, the way I did it, I would present with all my concepts written out and a number of proofs that back up why I chose this concept and why it's the right one for the given situation. I mean,
I
it was a
remember
big
seeing your work
deal.
back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I would have to go to the library at least once a week. And oh my God, you never found what you were looking for. You go through a card catalog, which sounds like you might as well be going through Morse code or something. And try, oh, the book is in this aisle and on this shelf. Nah, it was never there. I mean, most of the time it
Right.
wasn't
It never
there.
was there. The
No.
freaking card catalog,
Yeah. But the
Dewey
way
Decimal.
technology changed design and changed marketing is I can't even put words to the power of it, because all of a sudden overnight you could Google images and get all these ideas for different concepts that you have without ever leaving your chair.
Wow,
So
there
design,
it is. It made it easier for
it
you.
made everything better. It made
Right.
everything easier, correct. But it
Yes.
increased the competition exponentially, and
Mm.
everything got infinitely better. All aspects of the design got so much better that then, coupled with the web, the internet, design became much more of a functionality than it did as an aspect of marketing. So what I mean is now you have to be able to design stuff online so that people can better find the ideas that you want them to find and lead them to the conclusions that you want to lead them to. So
So
user interface design is what it more or less is now.
right. So in that sense, it made things better.
It
It
did,
made it easier to be more convenient.
but it
But
made
in
everything harder.
it and in that same space of making it more convenient, I remember, this whole email thing, and when we found out, well, look, you can now get your email on your smartphone, and look, you won't
Yeah.
even have to come back to your desk. You could be anywhere, and you can answer these emails. You could do emails, and that was like, woohoo! We're free. We're untethered from the desk. Okay, well, that actually means that now you have to work 24/7.
There you go.
No,
Isn't
no
that
matter
the
where you
truth?
go, you can't even go on a vacation because it's
Yeah.
going to follow you there. It's really this whole paradigm has changed as far as how we work and when
Hmm.
we work, and it's an
And
amazing thing.
And now we're getting to the point of automation, even AI, artificial intelligence. I do a lot of that on Facebook. Okay, so I set up something for a company and somebody wants to inquire. I could set up a long series of questions. Somebody says hello, I say hello back. Hey, what can I help you with? There's one of three answers that are likely. I can have a response for each one of those. And then it just kind of finally gets to, okay, look, we'll get back to you, as soon as possible. Thank you for leaving your message. I mean, there goes your receptionist. That's a mild example of AI that's
Well,
automated.
AI is kind of frightening to me as far as how it could be used, but I found this program called Crystal Knows. And what it does is it analyzes people's personalities, and
Wow.
you can use this for a sales for your sales process. It's a plugin to Google, and you can go on LinkedIn. In fact, I did this on you, Barry, and I pulled up your profile on LinkedIn, and then I clicked on the little add in to Google, and it gives a whole personality profile on you and what you like, and if I were going to go into a sales call with you, how I should behave to get the best
Oh my
reaction from
God.
you.
Oh
And
my God.
and I looked you up, and I did it on you, and I found it to be, yep, that's Barry, all right. And I
Wow.
actually did it on myself too, and I could see tips on. It was saying, get to the point, be direct, don't give too many details. that's going to frustrate him. It was perfect. It was perfect.
What's the name of it
It's
again?
called Crystal Knows. It's about $30 a month. You can go to their website. It's Crystal, as in Crystal, and Knows, Knows. So it's crystalknows.com. Go there.
Wow.
They'll give you a free trial. You can use 10. You get 10 chances to look up people, and then you can subscribe. It's
That's amazing.
$29.95 a month. It's amazing. It's cool, and it's kind of scary.
No, I agree with you on all fronts there. It's scary in all regards where we're going. And like even Zoom right now, we've had this capability for about 20 years doing the Zoom, but we all of a sudden, because of COVID, started to get so used to this, it's become a norm. I can't imagine. I mean, I think in 2 years, we're going to be standing next to each other via holograms.
Huh. I don't know. It's interesting you say that. We just had an event this week, and it was called our Connect, where we bring in our customers. Now, normally this is an on-site meeting, but we had to do it virtual this year. And I think the company did a really good job of doing this. We had about 400 participants, and customers actually, they're the ones in the spotlight, and they talk about case studies and how they use the product, how it actually benefited them. And it went well. But we did get feedback from people that said, I hated it. And it wasn't because of the content. It was because they didn't have that human touch. They like to go to the place. They like to see the other people and interact with the other people, go out to dinner, have a couple drinks, whatever. That is something that human beings need to have. And not only that, but in the industry, and I'm in healthcare, these people are in hospitals all day long. They're going to the same place, seeing the same people. They need to get out and be with other people, kind of let their hair down a little bit. And that's something I think there's no replacement. A hologram is not going to replace that.
I don't know about that, Merle, because upcoming generations are always different. I mean, we saw it when we were kids too. I remember like when I was a kid, when we were kids in our neighborhood, my friends and I were out running through the woods and on the railroad tracks and riding our bikes all day long. We were not to be found until we had to absolutely come back.
When the sun went down.
As I was going into high school and college and watching the younger kids come up, we had a treasure of woods and swamps and rivers. And they didn't partake at all. They stayed right on the little road, right in front of the house, right in the bikes, and playing.
Well, now look at them. Yeah.
So I'm telling you, I think that
you might be right.
Upcoming generations, they don't care about getting schmoozed at a restaurant. I think they're going to be more and more socially dorky. And
I think that's sad.
Well, I do too, but I think I still think that we're merging with technology, and it's a natural part of the merging.
I know.
Like that's that butterfly that you watch transform. I think that's exactly what we're doing as well. We're leading.
All right. I love the butterfly analogy. I've got another one. I think in a spiritual sense, the butterfly analogy can be applied. It's a beautiful analogy. And I hope you're wrong about the merging with technology.
No way.
Because I think that takes away from humanity. But I think we could go in a lot of different directions here. I wanted to go back to the list thing that you brought up.
I did too, because I wanted to hear your end.
Well, I used a Franklin planner for years when I first got started in business. And the fact is, you're never going to be able to remember everything. You need to have lists. You need to be writing things down. I have a good friend that used to say, if you don't write it down, it's not going to happen, or it never happened.
Yeah.
It's just very important. So I do that too. I use our CRM at Salesforce to do tasks and things like that. So that's my list. Or I've got a notebook over here. I'm constantly writing lists as well. But on the flip side of this, I think that I've been programmed to have maybe a negative feeling about lists because of what you were saying before about Lisa coming in and inflicting you with a list. My parents would do that growing up, but they would, I'll never forget, Saturday morning, you'd want to sleep in, right? my dad would come in the room. He was an early riser. It'd be like 6 o'clock in the morning. He'd pound on my door and he'd say, here's all the stuff you're going to do today. And he'd list out a bunch of stuff. And then I'd get out of bed and there would be a list on the kitchen table that was like 2 pages long of different things I had to do. It took me all day, maybe even to the next day. And my mother, she would make a list for me, but then she'd review the list with me in finite detail. And it was like, okay, I'm ready. I understand. Wash the dishes. I know how to do this. And the funny thing is Anne Marie is a list person. I mean, she's got a book of lists that she's made, and she could go back like several years. And just the other day, she was telling me, look, honey, remember that party we had back in 2015? Here's all the things that I had to get for that party. And she's going through this list of things that I remember now. I had to get the cheese, and then I had to get I'm like, are you kidding me? You're really going to read me the list of everything? Sometimes, I feel like I'm being listed to death.
Yeah.
And I think it's a personality thing, because it's back to that crystal nose thing. You have to get to the point with me, otherwise you're going to lose me.
I hear you, but you got a lot going on a daily basis. I'm talking work-wise right now, because I want to talk personal-wise too, because I want to get to how I use the iPhone so much for myself personally. But so professionally, how effective is Salesforce for you? Or is it just a means to an end where you have to, as part of the team, I have to record this stuff at the end of the day?
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Salesforce.
Okay.
It's and I'm not just saying that because my boss might be watching. I think if I don't have it in there, I'm going to forget about it. Yeah. I mean, that's just it. I have to write things down. I have to keep them in front of me. Some things do seem obligatory, but for the most part, I think it's a very effective tool in order to keep things flowing.
Oh, that's cool. And as I recall, I do think it's the most popular CRM system out there. I think.
Is. It's the biggest one out there.
Yeah, almost everyone knows of Salesforce. So on a personal level, I use the iPhone in my notes app, I have a separate notes that I had with shopping in all caps, and it's always there. So because I try to remember those 3 things I need when I go to the store, and I'll be damned if I never remember at least 2 of the 3. When I get
hilarious.
in there,
Same
no matter
here.
what I do.
Yep.
So I have to put those in my phone. And because I'm such an avid cyclist, I have this kick butt backpack that my mom got me for Christmas. I use it all the time. So I do all my grocery shopping 2 bags at a time. That goes into my backpack. So I'm always at the store.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I always need a few things. And I have to put it in notes.
During the height of COVID, I would not let Anne Marie go to the supermarket.
That's a man. There you go.
I just, she catches colds easily. Like anytime we fly on a plane, she comes down with something. So I'm like, okay, you're not going. I never catch colds. I'm going to the store. But she would make a list for me. And she goes, I just have a couple of things. And I'm, okay, sure. And then she hands me a scroll. I was like, a couple of things. It happens every time.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the store with my mask on. Back then I was wearing gloves too. And then I'm trying to breathe. I can't, and there's always some kind of specialty thing on there. Like, what kind of crackers? Why not just regular saltine? I don't understand.
You get to the point where these are good enough.
I can't do that. I have to, so I'll call her up and then have to talk on the phone. You're talking on the phone, wearing a mask. Have you done? This is hard. Yes. I mean, I think I'm gonna pass out. I'm like, honey, I can't talk any longer. Just text it to me. But anyhow, so I'd be in the store for like 2 hours trying to find this on the scavenger hunt, trying to find these things.
Right.
Anyhow, this is where the list thing. It's tough for me.
I hear you. Another thing that I have in my notes, a special another list item is movies/TV. Because people, I hate going through Netflix and Amazon
Oh,
Prime
right.
wondering what I'm going to watch. There's nothing on here. Scroll, scroll, scroll. But people are always telling me, oh, I saw the best thing. And it's just like shopping. I'll remember that. And then I get on Netflix or whatever, and I cannot remember.
Same here.
I have a gigantic list under movies/TV on my iPhone. So that's another thing. And I have a third one, which is just professional things. Something hits me throughout the day. Oh, I need to remember that for whether it's my business, even the podcast. If it's a subject matter I think we should address, I have a separate professional list that under notes on my iPhone, I put stuff there. So I don't consider myself to be the most organized person at all. I'm a typical left-handed guy, more artistic, and therefore I live a little more organically than so completely structured and organized as most. But I do think for a creative person, I am pretty organized just because of being in business for so many decades, so many years on my own. You kind of have to be.
You know what, just in knowing you all the years I have, you've always seemed organized to me.
Wow, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Lisa, did you hear that? Could you say
Yeah.
that again?
Yeah, he's organized, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, but I know you're using the Notes app on your iPhone. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
It's
I use it
invaluable.
too. Yeah,
Invaluable to me.
I'll do the same thing. Is write down like movies and stuff because I'll never remember that.
Exactly.
When I get home. I'm like, I don't know. I don't recognize. I'm scrolling through all the movies. I don't recognize any of these names.
Sure.
What does this say?